Plastic baits have been around for a long time, and they're getting more and more popular every year. That's because we're learning more and more ways to fish with them. Mike Goddard is a smallmouth bass expert who uses plastic a lot. He spends much of his time on Sturgeon Bay in Door County of Wisconsin. Sturgeon Bay is an outstanding fishery for smallmouth and walleyes. It can also be a windy body of water. On the way to our fishing area, my cap blew off into the lake, but we saved it, and I was sure glad to be wearing guide wear. I was also glad when just a couple of casts into the day, this bass bit my bait. Oh, look at that guy.
That's a great one, Bob.
Look at that guy. Oh. Ooh. I like him. Oh, God. Look at that guy. He's back pretty good, Mike.
He had to have to feel it in this wind.
I know it. I know. This is a windy day, isn't it? There. Nice fat one. I like it. It's rough in the mouth of the bay we're fishing. Too rough to fish, but we're kind of tucked back in a corner that's protected from the wind. We're very limited as to where we can fish, but where we're fishing has plenty of fish willing to eat our plastic. Fish on. Any size, Mike?
Hard to tell yet. I haven't seen him.
Now I noticed you just switched colors. Just went to something brighter. Does color make a difference sometimes?
Well, it's cloudy because the wind is pounding in here, so I went to something chartreuse.
I saw that.
And he took it.
You want a net, Mike?
No, I don't think
okay?
I don't think he's that big.
Well, you know, in these heavy seas sometimes, I just want to keep you in the boat, you know?
Me too.
Yeah. Probably more than me.
Actually, he's not that bad. You know, Bob, I've got light line on here. You could net him for me. Thank you.
That's a pretty good fish, Mike. Nothing wrong with that at all.
Oh.
And you just put that color on, didn't you?
Just changed, yep.
That's another good smallmouth. A big one almost anywhere, a regular size one at Sturgeon Bay. Now here's what we're doing. The fish are spread out all over this bay. We're using the wind to just push us along slowly. Mike is using the electric motor to keep us straight in the water. We drift until the water gets shallow, then start the outboard, run upwind, and start another drift. We're throwing plastic baits and swimming them almost like you would a crankbait. I'm using an Impulse paddle minnow. Look at this. The head is molded to fit the body, and the bass are liking it.
Lots of head shaking.
Is there?
He's staying down, so we'll see.
I'm going to get my line in, Mike, and be ready with the net.
I think he's all right.
Yep.
I'm a twin to the last one. Another dark one, though.
Yep.
It's a sign of the times.
Yep.
Just moving in. There, got her.
Another one right away, Mike, just like that. Isn't that something?
Sometimes just a
jump up
little
there.
change can make all the difference.
Yep. He's not as big, but I'm still going to net him, okay?
Yeah, I'll keep my hands dry. I like
know.
that.
I know. There.
Thank you, sir.
Now, that is 2 minutes and 2 fish. And it's been slow, you know, for now. If you catch one more, I'm going to switch. Because I like to do that, you know, I establish a pattern. See if that color is the deal.
Sounds
And
good.
it could be you're just a better fisherman, too.
Another bait that's really working well is this new UV Mimic Minnow. These baits were outstanding all summer.
Oh, I didn't know what I'd been missing out on. He's coming, that's a small one. I can get him, Mike.
All right.
I can get him. Nonetheless, it is a fish. And you know, I had watched you catch all those on that chartreuse, and I just had to go something different, and I went to a different color, you know, kind of bright. And, you know, he's not that big, but I'm just glad to catch one, you know? There.
Hey, if you'd like to be using some of the baits and equipment you see us using on Fishing the Midwest, go to the Fishing the Midwest Facebook page. We'll be selecting a winner in late March. Fishing the Midwest is presented by beautiful Cabot Lake, gateway to Voyageurs National Park. EVINRUDE,
Introducing the all-new EVINRUDE E-TEC G2, the outboard of the future. Rig Wrap, the world's best fishing rig storage solution. Ice Castle, you can camp in an ice castle, but you can't fish in a camper.
Fish on! Come on, get together.
Introducing a revolutionary concept in outboards, a choice. Now with the EVINRUDE E-TEC G2, you can choose unrivaled performance, superior fuel economy, and the cleanest combustion outboard on the planet. Choose from hundreds of color combinations to perfectly match your boat. And choose 5 years or 500 hours with no dealer scheduled maintenance. Experience the power of choice at ChooseYourETech.com.
What inspires the angler to return to the water's edge are not the countless fish that came before, but the one that lies ahead. Every time you fish, every single cast, every single day. Beautifully crafted multi-species fishing boats, unlike any other, to catch any fish you're after. See more online and at your local FX dealer. Larson FX, where others have yet to go.
Don't just go fishing, go hunting underwater. With Raymarine's superior high-fidelity chirp sonar vision, you'll never look at fishing the same again. You're already the predator above the water. Now go find your prey below it. Raymarine. Visit raymarine.com to get in on the action.
As the day progressed, we noticed that most of the fish were hitting at the mouth of the bay. Mike thought this might be the reason.
Mike, it seems like a lot of these fish are right kind of at the mouth, the entrance of the bay here. Is there a reason for that?
Well, I think it's the first break from that really rough water, and they're just in here feeding. Oh, thank you.
And are they just coming in here too?
Yeah, see how dark
Out of that-
this fish is?
Yeah,
When they're dark like that, they haven't spent much time in shallow water. They're still moving in.
out of that deeper water.
Yep.
Here's a good description of the bay we're fishing.
Mike, what kind of area is this that we're fishing? Why are we here? You know, it's what, mid, late night, something like that. Why are we fishing this particular type of area?
This bay, Bob, is a typical bay. It starts out at sand and it works its way into rock. There's rocky outcroppings that come, you know, here and there, rocky fingers, and we're concentrating on the rock today. But you just never know. You got to cover all of it.
Here's how we're fishing those plastic baits.
Mike, we're throwing plastic baits rigged on jig heads, and oftentimes you think jig heads, you know, on plastic close to the bottom, hopping it off the bottom, jigging. We're using these kind of like crankbaits, just a steady retrieve. How often do you do that?
Bob, what I'm doing is I'm just casting out. When it hits the water, I give it about a 1 or 2 second count to get down a little bit, and then just slowly retrieve it. And that's my go-to retrieve all the time, whether I'm fishing a crankbait or a piece of plastic like this, or even a marabou jig. Just slow and steady, nothing fancy, just keep it coming in, and all of a sudden it'll just stop and set the hook.
The proper equipment makes our time in the water and outdoors so much more pleasant and productive. The tournament trail rods from Cabela's are a good example of an outstanding rod that will make your fishing more enjoyable and productive. Check this out.
Wow, I can feel everything. I can feel every little pebble, every little weed, and most importantly, I can feel every walleye that bites. I'm fishing a jig and a minnow for walleyes. A key to this style fishing is using a light but very sensitive spinning rod. This is the Cabela's Tourney Trail IM8. That IM8 blank is light, it's responsive, and the reel seat no exposed threads. It fits just perfectly in my hand. Again, when fishing walleyes, you want a light, sensitive, responsive graphite rod. The Tourney Trail IM8, exclusively available at Cabela's. This rod helps me catch more walleyes.
Those outfitters at Cabela's can help you determine which products best fit your needs. Now back to the fishing.
He hit right at the boat, Mike?
Right at the boat.
Did he really?
I can swing him in. Yep.
Male?
Little male again.
Yep.
Mike is an outstanding angler. He's a student of the sport. He wants to know what he can do to catch more fish. Line is a very important consideration for him. He had been telling me about a new SUNLINE product called Assassin. Here's what Assassin is about.
Assassin FC is what it's called. It is a 100% fluorocarbon line with a plasma coating on it. And what that does is make it about 40% slicker than the average fluorocarbon and gives it about 20% more knot strength and a longer life. So this is really going to be kind of the next evolution in fluorocarbons.
I used Assassin line a lot this past year, and it's everything Mike says it is. Really an impressive fluorocarbon. Smallmouth are so much fun. They fight good and they like to get caught. We were in the end of the last drift of the day when this guy surprised us.
That looks good.
Yeah, it does.
That looks real good.
Yeah, it does. I'm gonna try really hard to get him in. Ooh. I haven't seen him yet. He's staying down. There he is, right with the boat here. What is that? Oh no, Mike, you're gonna be so disappointed.
Oh, is that a big walleye?
Mike, look at this. Oh, isn't that something? I'm good. I'm good at that. I am very good at that. You know?
We've caught a lot of those this year.
Have you really? Look at that guy. Gee, many Christmas. He's probably eating all the bass. Yeah, no?
That's a Green Bay walleye.
Yeah, that's a nice, nice walleye. I don't get many. When I get them, they're nice.
Nice walleye. Great way to finish our morning on the water. Just a good time. Now keep in mind, fluorocarbon line and plastic baits will enable you to enhance your time in the water for a wide variety of fish. And Sturgeon Bay has such outstanding fishing opportunities, and the Wave Point Marina and Resort is a wonderful place to stay in Sturgeon Bay. Just a great facility. And when we come back, we'll be trying a new crankbait for largemouth bass. Stay tuned. Fishing the Midwest is presented by Cabela's. It's in your nature. Impulse. Excite the bite with scent, color, and action. Raymarine. Don't just go fishing, go hunting underwater. CrappieCentral.com. Northland Fishing Tackle. Made by fishermen, for fishermen. A boat ride on the water, a concert in the shadow of legends, a day of fishing in one of the premier fisheries in the Midwest. These are just a few of the wonderful attractions Clear Lake has to offer. Nestled in northern Iowa, Clear Lake is known for its beautiful scenic landscapes, top-rated beaches, and yearly events. From the annual Winter Dance Party to the blockbuster 4th of July celebration, Clear Lake has something for everyone. Stay at the shore and explore.
We stress quality, we stress affordability.
When people walk in, they say they look like a cabin on wheels.
Made in the Midwest, for people in the Midwest.
Impulse soft baits have dominated our bass fishing for years.
And they're a big part of our panfish and walleye fishing. When the fish are aggressive, soft baits are the best choice, producing awesome fish-attracting action.
And you can catch several fish on one bait.
That means more time spent catching and less time rebaiting.
Northland's Impulse, a step above other soft baits with their secret scent that triggers fish to bite and hold on longer.
Meaning we feel more bites and set more hooks.
Lake Kabetogama in Voyageurs National Park is your year-round destination for experiencing nature at its finest. Enjoy the solitude of the pristine wilderness while having all the comforts of home available at the many full-service resorts. The fishing is world-class. So are all the other outdoor activities that are abundant in all the seasons. Cab is the perfect place for your family or group of friends, and Cab is an easy drive from anywhere in the Midwest. Cabotogama Lake in northern Minnesota. Discover Cab now. In the summer, regardless of what species of fish you're after, covering water quickly will enable you to find the fish quicker, and a crankbait is a great way to cover water. Today, Mike Frisch and I are casting a new crankbait in search of largemouth bass. We're fishing along the deep edge of weed beds. Lots of bass live in the deep weeds in the summer. We're covering water, and we're catching bass. Fish on.
Oh, that looks like a smallmouth.
It does,
No,
doesn't it?
No, largemouth.
But it isn't. He whacked it though. He hit it pretty good. Those crankbaits have a lot of hooks.
That's a decent start. Here's the bait we're using. It's the new Salmo 6.5 Hornet. That Hornet family of baits has been so productive for a long time. We use them for walleyes with outstanding success, and crappies like them too. The 6.5 Hornet is going to quickly establish itself as a go-to bait for bass and pike and even walleyes when they're in deeper water. Mike's turn.
This one, Bob, was way out on the end of that cast.
Is that right?
Yep. He feels like a heavier one.
Does he?
But you never know. Oh, he's not
He
bad.
looks like a heavier one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll take him like that, huh?
Absolutely.
There we go.
Oh yeah. He looks heavy. He did nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that one, Bob, way at the end of the cast.
Ooh. This one feels better, Mike.
Oh,
look at that guy. Look at that guy.
You know why he feels better, Bob?
He is.
Yeah.
Mike, when it comes to just covering water, is there anything better than a crankbait?
There really isn't, is there, Bob?
I don't think so. I like crankbaits. Just for covering water. I mean, these guys are pretty spread out. It's one here, one there.
They are, Bob. Crankbaits are a great way to cover water. The other thing is the bite's a little off. They do a good job of triggering reaction.
Yeah, they're spread out. We're just covering water here. Mike, this is the new Hornet 6.5 we're using. And it's a new bait. You've been using it quite a bit. What is it that you like about this bait? What are you seeing that makes it different?
Well, first off, Bob, it's a big profile. The Hornet family are fish catching machines. We've kind of been begging for a bigger bait for bass because bass like that big profile. It's got a big profile, got a nice, wide, erratic action in the water that bass love.
Here's how we're working these baits. It's mid-afternoon, the bass are along the deep edge of the weed bed. We're casting to the very edge of the weeds and bringing the bait back to the boat. If you can fish parallel right along the deep edge of the weeds, you'll keep your bait in the fish zone longer. This is the result of that.
There he is. Ooh. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Bob, one of the things about that 6.5, that big profile moves a lot of water. And when the fish are reacting during the warm water period of summer, that bait kicking and creating that disturbance does a good job of attracting and triggering bites.
The other thing about moving a lot of water is it's easier to find when there's some color in the water. Fish, largemouth bass, and a number of fish feed by their sense of feel, and that bait moving a lot of water just is easier for them to find in stained water.
Hey, if you'd like to be using some of the baits and equipment you see us using on Fishing the Midwest, go to the Fishing the Midwest Facebook page. We'll be selecting a winner in late March. Fishing the Midwest is presented by Larson Boats, Larson FX, where others have yet to go. Salmo, insist on Salmo. Offshore Tackle, the leader in trolling technology. Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce, stay at the shore and explore North Iowa. SUNLINE, the strength to guarantee your confidence.
No matter how hard you try, keeping your rigs tangle-free is, well, challenging. Well, not anymore with Rig Wrap. Staying tangle-free has never been easier. Just wrap, close, rinse, and store. Simple, right?
Wow.
No matter the rig, Rig Wrap has a storage solution to keep you tangle-free. From conveniently small to offshore extra large, you'll never worry about tangled rigs ever again. Rig Wrap, the world's best fishing rig storage solution.
I started using Salmo Hornets more and more a few years ago, and in those few years, I'm catching more and more fish. There's just something about a Hornet that makes a walleye or a bass or a panfish or whatever want to eat it. Hornets have a lifetime guarantee, and they're hand-tuned so they run perfect right out of the box. Cabela's has an outstanding selection of Hornets in the best sizes and colors, and the folks at Cabela's can tell you which ones are the hottest. Salmo didn't invent the crankbait, they just perfected it. Insist on Salmo at Cabela's.
All right, Grant, you're in front, so stay low. Gus, keep those shoulder pads square. Marcus, eyes on the prize. And Joe, remember to smile. Now take your positions.
With nearly 80 years in professional photography, LifeTouch knows what it takes to get the most out of your players.
Okay, just a little bit. All right, good. Oh, remember, there's no I in team picture.
LifeTouch, photography for a lifetime.
Don't just go fishing, go hunting underwater. With Raymarine superior high-fidelity chirp sonar vision, you'll never look at fishing the same again. You're already the predator above the water. Now go find your prey below it. Raymarine. Visit raymarine.com to get in on the action.
What inspires the angler to return to the water's edge are not the countless fish that came before, but the one that lies ahead. Every time you fish, every single cast, every single day. Beautifully crafted multi-species fishing boats, unlike any other, to catch any fish you're after. See more online and at your local FX dealer. Larson FX, where others have yet to go.
We're fishing in and around vegetation. Here's something to keep in mind when using crankbaits around weeds.
And I'm using braid because braid enables me to rip through that coontail real good. And do you find that much of the time, a strike will happen right after you rip through there, that bait kind of changes speed and that sort of thing?
You're right, Bob. Anytime there's an erratic action to a bait, it kicks off a weed, hits the bottom, whatever. Lots of times that deflection and that different action will trigger a bite. One of the things I like about the 6.5 is it's got that big wide bill that deflects off weeds pretty well. Yeah, sometimes you still hang up on the weeds, but lots of times it kicks off to the side, triggers those reactionary bites.
We mentioned line. If braid is your preference, go with something like 16 or 20 pound test SX1 from SUNLINE. If fluorocarbon is more your style, consider 12 or 14 pound test Super FC Sniper. Either will do an outstanding job. Bass on.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Whoa.
Just keep covering water.
Yep.
Whoa. Oh boy.
That's not a bad fish, Bob.
Yeah. Nice net job. Mike, do you find that, crankbait fish are larger on the average?
Bob, they are. On average, it seems like they're bigger, especially in this lake. One of the things about it is that big bait again. That big profile attracts a little bit bigger bite, reaction, nicer fish. All right, let's get him back, see if we can get another one.
Mike, something I like to do, I cast out there and I reel quickly to get the bait down to the running depth, and then I slow down. And it keeps that bait right at that level where it's the deepest. There's a lot of things you can do to influence how deep that bait runs.
You're right, Bob, there is. Another thing that I like to do with the rod is when we throw up to the weeds up on top of the flat, I like to keep that rod tip up high so that that bait is working up across the tips of the weeds. And then as I start to bring it down the drop off, I lower that rod to kind of allow that bait to work down the edge.
Yeah, the higher the rod tip, the higher the angle, the shallower the bait runs, right?
Exactly, and at the beginning of the cast, when we're shallower, we want the bait shallower, and then deeper as we work down the edge.
Good stuff. Here's some more good stuff. Mike Frisch has some ideas for fishing for smallmouth bass.
Let's check out today's impulse reaction for a bait that we've had good success with.
Rigging the smelt minnow on a drop shot, pretty simple. Just go into what I'd call the head of the bait, go up a bit and out the top, and that, as you twitch it, hop it, shake it a little bit, Gives that nice action tail to that whale tail of that bait. Right there it is, 4-inch smelt minnow on a drop shot.
Impulse is good stuff. Let's get back to the fishing.
Oh, look at that guy.
Let's hope he stays hooked.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, Bob, ooh, that's a good one there, huh?
Oh, it is. There he is, look at that guy.
Easy.
Ooh.
We're not gonna swing this one.
No. Let's grab it.
Oh, come here, buddy. Come here.
Ugh. Nice one.
One of the things, he twisted that crankbait all around by the end.
Yep. Crankbait fish usually are just a little bit bigger on the average.
You know, the other thing too, Bob, about this 6.5 is it comes standard with that Mustad triple grip. You know, some crankbaits, they don't use the best of hooks. The 6.5, they use great hooks, and you know, a lot of these fish, we're barely getting them. You know, they're just thinly hooked on the lip, and having that good hook helps. But you're exactly right. That big bait catches them, and when it does, lots of times they're a little bit bigger.
As the day turns into evening, the bass start to bite even better. It's one fish after the other.
Yep, Bob.
He does. They all do, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah. They got the right attitude.
They do. God, I like catching bass.
Yes, I know. I know. I like catching whatever wiggles.
Yep. There we go.
Yep, yep.
You know, it's not a big fish, but he's not a bad fish either.
Absolutely not.
You know, the other thing too, Bob, about that crankbait is, and you talked about it before, it just catches everything. I mean, they're fish catching machines, and they're pretty simple to throw too. You know, cast them out, reel them back, get her back.
Oh, coming up, coming up.
Coming up, oh yeah.
Coming up. Oh man, oh man. Whoa, if he's as big as he is strong, he's a big one. And he is,
Barely
he's just
skin
strong.
hooked.
He's just strong. Oh man. You know, when we fished, a couple hours today, and it seems like, you know, we just covered water, and every now and then we'd get in a pod of active fish, catch them good, then move on a little bit. Just keep showing that bait covering water. Cast it out, reel it away, stop it, let it float up to the surface a little bit, reel it again. And apparently you did something that guy liked.
Yeah, you can do a lot of different things. Deflect it off cover like we talked about earlier. And one of the things I like, throw it out, reel it back.
Reel it. Yep.
Crankbaits are such good fish catchers, especially in the summer and fall. Work them over rocks, weeds, along docks, any sort of cover actually, and you're going to get bit. When the fish are running deeper, put that new 6.5 Salmo Hornet down there and get bit even more often.